Hi, my name is Kayla, and I'm a student at the Workshop School. And today we're going to be interviewing Mr. Scott, our 12th grade advisor. Hey, Mr. Scott.
Hey, Kayla.
Can you tell me a little about yourself?
A little about myself. This is my eighth year teaching high school. My first year teaching seniors, so that's been really exciting. Having my best year yet in my 8 years of teaching. This is my second year at Workshop School. I have a son named Graham, of course, and my beautiful wife Christine is a nurse. We live in Hatfield, PA. I went to college. I want to be a journalist. I want to be a writer, but that didn't really work out for me. So my plan B was to be a teacher, and I'm glad it happened that way.
Thank you. I have a few questions for you. Can you tell me what is one of your hidden talents?
Well, so real quick before we get into that, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm 18. I'm not sure if I want to go to college or not. If I don't go to college, I'm going to go to CCP and do the auto. I live here in Philadelphia. That's it.
She's an influencer. She influenced me how to weld, so I think it was our first interaction. Was last year as a junior.
Yep.
Did not know you, and you taught me how to weld.
Yep.
So thank you for that. All right, I'm sorry. What was your question? I interrupted you.
Can you tell me one of your hidden talents?
Only one. One hidden talent. Actually, it's a more recent one, but I know how to juggle, which really impresses Graham.
Like apples?
Yeah, I can juggle. So I feel like actually my last school, it was one of those team building things, and they took us to circus school, and we had to do the trapeze and do all the weird events that they have, and so one of the things that they were doing there was juggling. So I practiced there, and then during the pandemic, it's one of those things what else am I gonna do? So I kept trying to do it, and then all of a sudden it clicked, and now I feel like I might be a clown if this doesn't work out.
I heard you mention that you wanted to be a journalist and you had to do a plan B. So can you tell me how you came across the Workshop School?
I came across the Workshop School because I had the pleasure of working with Ms. Willa for just about a month at my previous school. And I always kept contact, as you know, one of the skills we teach here at the Workshop School is networking. So I knew when she was really excited about leaving, she was telling me about the school, and I was like, cool. So I just stayed in touch with her, and then by the end of the year, she let me know there were some openings. So I came during exhibitions and watched exhibitions. I was really impressed. And I was this school is cool. I'm not a big believer in tests, so I liked just that whole idea, and all the students were just so nice and supportive of each other. I was actually your class, not your specific class, but it was when you guys were in 10th grade. So it was that group of kids. And I was wow, everyone here is really supportive, and it's a community, and just everything kind of really fit. So I'm happy I kept that network with Ms. Willa. How did you hear about the Workshop School? How did you become a student here?
Actually, the old principal, Mr. Hawker, he came to our school and was telling us about it. And he said no uniform and no homework. So I said, it's my school. And it's a project-based school, and I like the hands-on board stuff.
Were you interested in the auto immediately, or is that something that came along?
No, that came along in 10th grade when we had the one class for each auto. Auto tech didn't really get I wasn't really interested in it. But when we got in the shop in auto body, and I was oh, I think I actually like this. This is cool. Yeah. Can you tell me something you really like about the Workshop School?
Just one thing I like about the Workshop School. I really like the autonomy that administration gives in regards to we can, as long as we're teaching the skills, they allow us to choose what books we want to teach. So as an English teacher, that's everything. And I was coming from a school that used to be like that, and then after the pandemic, they were adopting this curriculum, and it was a lot of just really boring texts. Because they were well, we want to give kids really rigorous text so they can catch up after everyone fell behind. But I didn't even want to do the reading, and I like to read. So I was teaching things that like I wasn't interested in, and it was really hard to be a good teacher when you're teaching things that like you don't really believe in. So the idea that they kind of entrust us. I mean, there's the projects, but within the projects, you're kind of you have the freedom to do what you want to teach in the project. So I think as any teacher would tell you, like that's what makes this job really enjoyable, is when you're like finding things that you're interested in and you want to learn more about, and then learning those things and then teaching those to kids. Like to me, that's really important that the teachers like believe in and enjoy what they're teaching.
Yeah.
Is there a specific project or anything you've done here that really stands out as your favorite thing that you've done here, or a class?
My favorite project I did was when I made my own welding. So we had our own welding projects last year, and I made a butterfly. I welded a butterfly together. I made it out of metal and a screwdriver.
Oh, you gotta show me that. I haven't seen that.
It's disappeared. So over that.
Alright, well, I believe you. I believe it was amazing.
What do you believe your biggest accomplishments are?
In life or in teaching or as a teacher? My biggest accomplishments? I think my biggest accomplishment is whenever older students come back and visit and they've like been off to college, and they'll say something like, oh, they'll make some connection like, oh, I used the paragraph format that you taught us and I got an A on this paper, or oh, we touched upon this one subject and I remembered it from your class. So anytime former students come back and feel like something they learned in my class was meaningful or useful or helpful to them, that makes you really feel like a really big accomplishment. Because I feel like in high school as a teacher, you don't always get like the immediate feedback that what you're doing has value and meaning. So like in the moment, kids are usually just bored of whatever you're saying or don't believe you or think they know everything. So you don't always get that feedback of, hey, you did a great job today, Mr. Scott. You don't hear that a lot as a teacher. So it's one of those things, it's kind of like a long-term play where, all right, every day I don't get that immediate feedback, but hopefully down the road, like you'll come back after a few years and visit and say like, oh, hey, I learned something or I used something from your class. And so it makes it feel worth it. What's your biggest accomplishment so far as an 18-year-old?
Getting my driver's license.
I knew you were going to say that.
I didn't think I was going to get a driver's license, but I did. So.
Have you been on the highway yet? We'll get you on that highway.
Hopefully. What are your biggest challenges as a teacher?
Oh man, biggest challenges. I think, especially as a somewhat new dad, I think finding the energy every day to match your students. I think like a really good teacher has to have energy and to be able to match it with the teenager's energy. So like just like bringing it every day, or like pretending, at least faking it that day when I'm not, like today I'm exhausted with daylight savings, and just finding that extra gear to kind of match, because you can't just sort of like slog your way through the day as a teacher. Like the kids will eat you up. So you got to bring the energy every day. I try to be pretty transparent, like let you guys know like what's going on in my life. So if I am facing stuff, like I'll let people know, because I think you gotta show your human side. But regardless, even that when I am going through that stuff, I still have to like leave that behind, because I don't want to like bring something that's going on in my life and have it impact the way I like interact with a student or something like that. So being able to compartmentalize, what's going on in your personal life and putting that aside and knowing that like the kids come first, and even though you have all this stuff going on in your life, kids have way more challenging things going on in their lives for the most part. So to try to find that balance is probably the biggest challenge. What do you think is the biggest challenge of being a teenager these days?
I don't know about everybody else, but for me, I think kids like my sister had kids and stuff. So like I always have to help her around a lot, because like she's becoming a single parent now. So like it's more of me, like it's kind of like I kind of feel like a mom sometimes. Like it's kind of a lot of pressure, and I'm like I don't want to leave these kids and go to college, but at the same time I gotta live with myself.
No, you're sweet, Ann.
What would your students be surprised about? What would the students be surprised to find out about you?
I don't know. I feel like I tell you guys a lot about my life. I don't know that much would be surprising. What do they find surprising about me? Maybe, maybe that was like a jock in high school. Like I hung out with all the jocks.
Really?
Yeah, I was like really into sports. And I don't really give off that persona. Like I don't look like a coach. And we don't really talk. We don't really like sports isn't a big deal at this school. Like we don't have a lot of teams and things. Like I think if we had that, like maybe I'd be a coach and I'd be more involved in like the sports part of this school. But we don't really emphasize it that much, so that doesn't able to come out. But yeah, I'm like a big sports guy. Jock.
I thought you were gonna say you being a bartender. That actually surprised me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think I'm pretty like personable, like friendly, easygoing type of person. I feel like that's kind of like what a bartender does.
Okay.
But I think most kids when they see a teacher too, like to my point of like it was like second choice, like this was like plan B. So, like a lot of kids think like most teachers are like that's what they always wanted to be. Like when I was your age, I'm like when I grow up I want to be a teacher, and that is true for a lot of teachers. But I think it's also true for a lot of teachers that like they did something, they didn't feel like content or they didn't feel like satisfaction or fulfillment from that job, and so like they go to teaching because they feel like, oh, I want to make a difference, I want to have an impact, I want to do something that makes me feel good at the end of the day, as opposed to just whatever job or career they had in the beginning. So I think it's different that a lot of people don't realize like, oh, most people don't always end up, in their first choice as a career. So. What about you? What would I be shocked to know about Kayla Lynn?
Actually, I don't think you'd be shocked about anything. I think I tell you a lot of stuff as well. Yeah.
Okay. We'll keep those skeletons in the closet.
Yeah.
All right. Turn.
How would you describe your style of teaching?
I think my style of teaching has definitely evolved as a teacher. I used to bring a lot more energy to the classroom when I was a little younger and didn't have a kid. I was like really, what would the kids say, Joe extra. I was described as that, and that was just me being like kind of new to it, and I was a little insecure or like not confident in my teaching ability. So I tried to compensate that by being like really energetic and really. But then I realized like that's just not sustainable, at least for me in this career as an older teacher. I figured it, I look at it more of like a marathon than a race. And so I'm like, all right, listen, if I gotta, make it to the end of the year and like keep this career going, like I have to find a balance between like bringing a lot of energy, but also like pacing myself, because you can really exhaust yourself in this job. And bringing a lot of stuff home. I used to really, like it'd keep me up at night just thinking about like what was going on in kids' lives, or like something happened at school, or a kid said something to me, like I'd bring all that home. And then I think it was, it hit me sometimes. I was like, you know what, these kids don't think about me when I'm outside the classroom. Like no one's thinking about what Mr. Scott's doing. So why am I like wasting all this energy, like rehashing things that happened during the school day? Like that really put in perspective was like the kids don't worry about what I'm doing. So why am I always worried about them? And I don't mean to say that I don't care, but just knowing that like at least by the time, I need to be there. I need to be present for my family and my child, so I can't be thinking about the stuff that happened at work. Like so I kind of have this like ritual when I like get home, and like right before I get out of my car, like take a deep breath and just sort of being like, all right, whatever happened today, like I'm leaving it right here, and not venting and complaining when about work when I get home. I just felt like that was not productive. It was just exhausting and maybe not like love the job. So just like really understanding, like separating myself between, put my energy here when I'm here, but then also like being able to leave some of that at home, so I can stay as a teacher for as long as possible, because I think it's like an endurance game, and B, like because I want to be a good husband and father, and I think it's hard to do that when you're constantly thinking about work. How about you?
I think your teacher sounds cool. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's definitely different too, because I think in the advisory block that we have, right, we have 3 hours. Mm-hmm. So it's about like, you know, pacing ourselves, like going in and out of the work. We've transitioned from one project to this. Now we're going to read a book. It's definitely a different mode, like versus the seminar teacher where like, cool, I have an hour and like, you know, these are the things we're going to hit in this hour. Having a 3-hour block, like we really have to like pace ourselves. Because I think I try to always put myself in the shoes of you guys, like that's a long time to be in the same room. So I try to be like flexible with, you know, whether you need to take a break or just take a little quick walk or just get out of that space. And or if you just need to, you know, I try to trust my students that they know themselves and that they know what's best for them. As opposed to this, I think if I was just on top of it for 3 straight hours, I would exhaust myself, I would exhaust you guys, and ultimately I think I told myself too, as like a senior advisor, like I really want you guys to enjoy your year. Like I think that's really important. Like, and so just finding a way, like I want you guys to want to come to school every day, because I think that's a big thing as a senior. Like you really start to feel like you don't want to come here anymore and you just want to get it done. So I try to make advisory like inviting and fun, and have that kind of energy in the room that people like want to come to school and like want to enjoy each other. And I think we have like a really good group of kids. And so I'm hoping like when you look back, you're like, I really remember like your senior year is like fun. You got something out of it, but you also like enjoyed coming to school. So I hope you feel that way.
I do. Next question. How would you describe yourself, as a lion or a turtle?
A lion or a turtle? I'm definitely not a lion by any means. So yeah, I like the turtle. I like the turtle mentality. I feel like for as extroverted as I can be in the room, I like my alone time. Like I like my time to myself. So if I could just put my head in the shell for a little while, that would be nice. And I like the pace that a turtle goes at, you know, slow and steady. And I like how a turtle goes in and out of water, which I kind of feel like is important to me. Like I like going to the beach. I like taking baths. There's something you guys might not know about me. But I like water. I think water is important. Water is very, I don't know, I kind of have this understanding, like we came from water. So I always feel like when you're at the beach or in the pool or in the shower, like I think water's really relaxing and like a good escape. So I like that turtle can kind of get in the water and do his thing, but then he also like likes to get out on land and work on his suntan. What about you? Are you a turtle or a lion?
I don't know. I think I'll be in the middle, or a lion.
A lion turtle. I think you're a lion. I think you're pretty fierce.
I don't like slow and steady. I like stuff to get done right then and there.
Yeah, I hear that.
Thank you, Mr. Scott, for letting me interview you.
Well, I think thank you for wanting to interview me. I know it's a little awkward. And also just wanted to thank you for just being an awesome member of our advisory, and I'm really glad I've gotten to know you this year.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I appreciate you.
Oh.